Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you for asking. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
Of course, of course. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I was exposed to you first on Epidemic Sound, like right off the top. You're welcome. First sip. You gotta
Mhm.
me put out there every way possible, form, and fashion that people can get a hold of your music and listen to that sweet sound of your voice. Give me some links. Give me some identification, please.
So my name is King Sis. If
Mhm.
you just Google me, it's gonna come up. But everywhere you search on streaming platforms is King Sis. My socials are all at I am King Sis. So that's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. At I am King Sis.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm gonna post them in a video anyway, but I want you to say it. I need it.
That's okay.
I tell you what, you have a beautiful voice.
Thank
Um,
you.
you're welcome. Like I said, I was first exposed to you by Epidemic Sound, and I've gotten so spoiled by it. And I used some of your music for one or two of my short films. I believe I used some of the soundtrack for some of my podcast soundtracks. Just man, just good stuff. How did you get started? Tell us about where that passion came from and what ignited it. That singing.
Well, so I'm a church girl. I
Okay.
I sang in a church. So my grandfather is a pastor.
Wow.
Was a pastor. He just passed away in 2019,
I'm sorry.
and now my dad is the pastor. So now I'm a PK. I've gone from a PGK to a PK.
Oh,
But yeah, growing up in the church, that's where I sang. So I initially the church probably started when I was about 6. So
okay.
from 6 throughout all my teenage years and a little bit of my early 20s, I was singing in the church, either choir, praise team, or we also had a gospel girl group that came out of the church called
Mm,
Rain. And
mm,
so we sang and toured around different churches in the DMV area
okay.
with Rain. But that's my start. That's my humble beginnings.
Oh, okay. So, at what point did you determine that it was something that you wanted to pursue as a career because you loved it so much?
I think I knew that back then. I knew really early on, but not sure, if I could really do it, how much money I could really make. And I was one of the first people in my family to go to college.
Oh,
So,
wow.
according to my parents, it's like, you're going to get a good job. You're going to find you a job that
Okay.
got good benefits
Mhm.
and, live your life and retire kind of thing. That was the point of going to college. But I always knew that I, had the path of music. I just didn't know how.
Okay.
So yeah, I've always had some kind of like plan B just in case, but music has always been plan A for sure.
Okay. What did you major in when you went to school?
So I went to school for design. I went to art
Really?
school for interior design. Yeah.
Really?
And
Okay.
then I got another degree in architecture and sustainable architecture.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, I have a pretty lofty plan B. A pretty lofty plan B.
Hey, I mean, but to be able to provide for yourself while you pursue that dream, that's a beautiful thing,
Yeah.
as opposed to some people have gone the starving artist aspect of things. You're able to, again, because of your parents encouraging and enforcing and you following through with that, you can do what you do from the vocalist sound aspect of it, but as well as the bills can be paid and food on the table. So that's a beautiful thing. That's actually good stuff.
Exactly. Now, I will say, when you get to the point where you are going to do it full time, you
Hmm.
still, regardless, you always go through like a struggle period because it's very difficult to do both. Like, it's very difficult to be like 250% in on music while your time is divided. And so, yeah, it's great to like have that plan B set when you do have to, go full force with it. You have a little savings because
Hmm.
there will be a struggle period where, I quit jobs and everything in 2019, and no, beginning of 2020,
Okay.
and even having savings and everything, it nothing prepares you for when you do have to go hard. There's There's no other options. Like when it's time to go hard, that's all you can do. You know what I mean? So it is
Okay.
good to like have that mentality, like, okay, we're going through this time, but it's to get through, you know. It's
Sure.
not the end, but it's just to get through it.
Part of your story, you know. So when people that it's always amazing, and I've said it many times, how people will see individuals like yourself that are talented in a particular thing with you singing, and they don't understand the price you paid, the struggle, you know, the sacrifice involved. All they see is King Sis singing, oh, she sounds so beautiful, blah blah blah. You know, they don't know.
Oh my
So
gosh. I could write a book
I'm
about
sure
the
you could.
struggle from, you know, leaving home and going to a whole nother place in LA and or, you know, for lack of better words, leaving the church, you know, and that comes with its own set of
Of course.
challenges and family dynamics and then, you know, leaving to go to a whole nother place where you don't understand. And then I was living in my car for a period of time when I was in LA. Like there was struggle periods, but you know, it all actually works out the way it's supposed to. You know, the way that I was at the time, where it was like, you know, all or nothing, helped me to kind of like be bold about my next steps. And so things that the one thing that I auditioned for, I was incredibly bold about it and got a world touring, you know, background vocalist gig. So it kind of that struggle kind of sets you up for just being like fearless, you know.
Sure. Okay. Now let me ask you. You expressed, or you know, you shared with me the creative aspect of, you know, the creativity with your background. Has that played a part in terms of certain aspects of creativity in you being an artist, wardrobe designs, videos, things like that? Because you not only are you extremely talented with those vocals, but you got the whole creativity thing going on. So tell me about how that has enriched or enhanced aspects of your performances or your videos in that wardrobe.
Well, I pretty much do everything myself, which is getting
Nice.
to be difficult.
Okay.
I delegate more for sure, but at least up until this point, I do all my own video treatments. I mostly, for the majority, I do all my own artwork for my album, my EPs, my single art. So that's my like graphic design coming into play. But yeah, I do all my own video treatments. I have the concept and the entire storyline down just from myself, and then, you know, grateful to have a team that like always understands the vision and knows how to like execute it in the best way. But yeah, I pretty much do all my own creative, which is it's a lot. But
For
it's
sure.
fulfilling. It's fulfilling.
I was going to ask, I'm sorry, excuse me. In terms of, you have the passion for singing, you love singing. Is the creative aspect fun for you as well? Being that it sounds like it's a gift.
It's so fun. It's like it's a joy. It gets stressful just because you have to get into the executions, like the details of it and, you know, how everything is actually going to come to be. But just the creative aspect of it is like what I live for. It's so fun. And then to see other people's response or their reaction, how they feel about, you know, what I've created is like, couldn't ask for anything better.
Beautiful thing. Now, in terms of your music, man, dreaming wide awake, and good stuff. Now, with those two in particular, those are two of my favorites.
Yes.
Did you write those on your own, or did you have help? Tell me about those two.
No, yeah, I wrote those on my own. You said Dreaming Wide Awake and you said Begin Again, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, those two, I usually write all my own music. I have
Okay.
two people that I co-write with on occasion,
Sure.
but for the most part, I write my own music. And those two songs in particular, yes, I wrote myself.
Okay. Now, are those songs is the songs you write, period, generally encouraged from life experience, or does something inspire you, or tell me about the creative process as it relates to writing? Because it's interesting. Again, we have the artistic aspect of things. We have the vocal talent, and then writing too. I mean, so you just all these notches on your profile, girl. Tell me about your creative process of writing, please.
Well, like you said, yeah, it's usually my life experience. Like I usually write about either what's going on right now or what's happened before or what I dream to happen, what I hope to happen. But yeah, maybe too much of myself is in my music. I don't know. But yeah, it's literally like all my life. I have a few songs, especially ones that are co-written that aren't necessarily about me and what I'm processing in my life at the time. But yeah, for the most part, it's all an open book. I'm an open book.
Hey man, and people can connect with that. It makes you more relatable. You know what I
I
mean?
hope
So
so. I hope
for
so.
sure, absolutely. Now, did you start writing? How soon did you start writing? I mean, because some people, were you one of those musical geniuses? Some people start writing young. You know, be it poetry or whatever. Did you start writing when you were really young as well, or did that come later?
Yeah, but like you said, poetry. I wrote super young. That was kind of like my outlet when
Hmm.
I was younger because I was quiet. I was a quiet, shy kid, and I wasn't very expressive. And
Really?
maybe I didn't know how to be, or maybe that was just my personality. But writing was my outlet. And so yes, starting with poetry, or even I would just write like in short form, just expressing however I felt without, worrying about rhyme or anything like that, but just expressing. And then at times those would turn into songs. Like I have a song from when I was super young that I still have, but I also was taught music at a young age. So
Hmm.
having that outlet for writing as a means of expression just kind of paired well with learning the piano at a young age. And so I just started writing music just because I was doing both. So I started writing songs just because I was doing both. But yeah, I learned to play the piano at like 9, I believe. um yeah, super young. And I never played in church though. That's one thing. I only sang in church. I never played in church. I've never been like that gifted of a musician. I just have the skill, but some people are just incredibly like that is their gifting. And I think my gifting is more in vocal than it is in actually playing, but I have the skill.
Refuse to let you say that's not my gifting. Wait a minute. So you write, you artistically talented, you play piano, you sing. Come on, now that's a lot.
It's a lot. But the thing about creatives is sometimes like I mean, I guess it depends on what type of creative you are, but some creatives like, if you just create a creative person, you're that way in almost every aspect of life. Like I'm pretty much like fashion might be the only thing that I'm not really into, but when you can learn how to do things and you have a idea, like you envision what you want to see, what you want to hear, how you want it to feel, you end up figuring out ways to do it, and so yeah, I don't know, everything just kind of goes hand in hand. It all comes together. I mean, maybe it's a bit controlling. Maybe it's a bit because I'm like, I have this vision and these are the ways that I want to see it. And the only way sometimes that it's going to come across the way you see it is if you do it yourself,
Of course.
and so maybe it's a bit controlling, but like I said, I'm working on delegating, and I do have a great team that helps me bring my visions to come.
Sure. I'm thinking about when you said earlier how you were quiet. How did you go from being this quiet little girl that sang at church to being this artist that more or less puts your talent and your creativity on blast the way that you have and the way that you continue to do? How? Tell me about that, please.
I don't know. I guess I don't know. I guess I just got more comfortable with it, but I've
Okay.
always been like somewhat comfortable with it just because when you sing in church, it's like they gonna make you sing, it's like, oh, you can sing? Okay, go and get up on that stage, So I had to get comfortable with it when I was younger, but I think I like found my voice as an adult. Like it took time for me to like, you know, I always knew who I was and what I had and what I brought to the table, or what I, can contribute to the earth. But I wasn't vocal or expressive about it probably until my adult years for sure. I don't know what the trigger was, what the catalyst was to make that happen. But
Mhm.
yeah, definitely after 18.
Okay. Okay. I know something that you said that's interesting is the comfort. and the things that we do when we're comfortable that can make a shy person open up. If it's something that they enjoy, 9 times out of 10 they're comfortable about it, so they'll do it, and you do it and do it, and before you know it, you go from having an introverted personality to when it's time to throw down, that extrovert comes out. So
Exactly. It's sometimes it's like a switch, and sometimes I need help turning that switch on. Like, I like will be like, somebody make me mad real quick, and then and then I can, bring out the fierceness. But like, yeah, it's a life on and off stage sometimes can be like night and day.
I can believe it. Sure. Now, you spoke about your parents earlier. Do either of them sing as well, or?
My mom does. So
Gosh.
that's part of like, music was just always around, and being being that my grandfather was a pastor, we were always at church, like always at church. If it
Right.
wasn't, a Bible study or a meeting or a choir rehearsal, like youth meetings, like we were always at church. And every Thursday, my mom she was on the praise and worship team. So every Thursday she had praise and worship rehearsal. And then for a number of years, she was the choir director. So I was always at, a rehearsal singing, and we kind of like that. Just it kind of became life. A lot of the kids of people on the praise and worship team were like choir directors. It's just music was just ingrained in us, from a young age. So we connect on that even to this day. But yeah, my mom sings. Also, her father was a singer along with his siblings and a couple of his cousins. They had a gospel group back in the day called the Hall Singers. That's my mom's maiden name is Hall. And so yeah, they toured like the Chitlin circuit doing gospel records. So that's cool.
So you got it honest for sure.
Yeah, I got it honest.
So now with your music, how would you categorize it? Would you say I would say me? I'm not a musician by any stretch of the imagination, but if I were to use my perception, I would say R&B.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, R&B, it has its subgenres and subcategories, different sounds within the genre, but yeah, I would just say R&B. I have a ton of gospel, pop, even country or folk influences. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's all R&B.
Okay, give me 3 of your influences in terms of, let me see, which genre. Since we're speaking about R&B, give me your top influences in terms of R&B.
I would say Lauryn Hill.
Okay.
She's probably number 1.
Okay.
I would give Toni Braxton number 2. For her tone and her delivery, and just like the way that I hadn't heard. I mean, her kind of like predecessor was Anita Baker, but Toni Braxton was more my era, and the way that like a deeper tone on a woman's voice was like so like special to me, because I have a deeper tone. I'm not a soprano, so, and then to have a like sultriness about it, she was a huge influence for sure. And then I would say my third influence, I credit India.Arie for sure, because lyrical content wise, always having a message in the music, or her music being about like more like self-reflective and not always about relationship with someone else, not always about being in love, but just a lot about how she feels about herself, and how she moves on the earth. Like she was a big lyrical influence for me as well. I would say Lauren was the vocal influence. So she was like in her energy, it was R&B, hip hop, and it was for me, for her, she was like a just a whole like mood, like vocals, energy, style, like all of that, and then also having a message too. Like, so she's my number 1, but that's my top 3.
Okay. What would you say is actually, in terms of in this journey, everybody we want to come with us can't come with us, and it's a blessing when some people can.
Mm-hmm.
As it relates to your singing, when you were coming up, you had people, within the church, within your friendship groups. Are there any people that you sang with when you were younger that you were able to bring with you that may have sung background with you, sung with you a little bit in some of what you've done thus far?
Yeah, it's funny you ask because
Man, okay.
I have actually two singles coming out on Friday. And
Mm.
one of them, my sister-in-law is singing background vocal. Well, I'll say this, both of the background vocalists on that song are both my sisters-in-law.
Oh, wow.
But one of my sisters-in-law used to sing with me in the gospel girl group we had back in the day called Rain. So
Okay.
yeah, she later married my brother and she's not my sister-in-law, but I absolutely still use her for even just like a listening ear. Like the other day I played some music for her just to get her, feelings about it, what her initial reaction was on certain things on the mix. But yeah, absolutely. Her name is Tia Mills. She's a Mills now.
Nice.
Tia Mills, absolutely, she has come with. And then a lot of people just in general in my life, like people that I went to school with for design, like I use their eye often to kind of bounce off of them, like, what y'all think about this or what this look like? I'm grateful that I have always had creative people around me.
Sure.
And so a lot of them not only understand, but they, can give me feedback, guidance, help in certain areas. My brother, I have two brothers. One of them is a musician. He plays in a church. Sure. And plays keys in a church. And then the other one, I actually went to school for videography. I don't know what specific in that field, but so he helps me sometimes editing videos, like I'm really grateful to have a lot of creativity, like constantly around me and my friends and family.
Wow. And it's one thing you hear people say, thank God for family. No, thank God for good family. Because not all family, good family, not all family is supportive. And it sounds like you have a lot of, good family support. That's a beautiful thing. So in terms of your siblings, it's 3 you guys in total?
Yeah, 3 of us in total. I'm the only girl, but 2 other boys.
Okay. All of you guys got bit by that bug of creativity to some shape, form, or fashion.
Oh yeah, funny, because we were just talking about this the other day. I'm in the DMV right now. I leave next week to go back to LA, but I've been in the DMV spending time with my family, and we were just talking about that, how we all are creative people, but we also have that like left and right side of the brain where, we can go to school for architecture, and still thrive in that setting too. Or, my brother that plays keys in the church, his career is in IT. So,
wow.
We have like that duality, which is kind of nice,
Sure.
Sometimes I wish we were like 1,000 bajillion% in one direction as opposed to kind of being split in one way. Okay. But we're all, split in that way where we can, kind of play in both worlds, which is cool. It's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, would you say that it's because of that influence and your parents strongly encouraging? Okay.
Absolutely. It's all their fault. It's all their fault. Because if it wasn't for them, we would just be little butterflies, like creative, and that's it with our lives. You know what I mean? But my parents my dad more so, because my mom is the butterfly in their relationship. But my dad more so for sure is the he was in the military, like he's the more structured, he's more practical, he's the more logical. And so, yeah, it was his instilling in all 3 of us that, you need to have something that's stable, something that, you can actually like build upon for sure, something secure. And so we all did that. We all, created a stable path for a career, but none of us ever let go of the creativity that we have.
Okay. Now, do either of your brothers sing also, or is the vocalist aspect of sister's specialty?
That's just me. That one's just me.
Now, you said your one brother plays keys. Is he the one that taught and influenced you, or did you learn from someone else?
No, I learned from someone else, but it was actually another family member. It was a cousin. my brother that plays keys, he's much younger than me, but it was an older cousin that taught
Mm,
me how to play. And he's a musician as well. He's a producer. He's incredible. His name is DT Lamont. He never did that 100% as well, but he's really gifted. And he was the one that taught me initially to play the
okay.
piano until I got to a certain point where I kind of got beyond, and then I had other professional piano teachers after that. But
Okay.
yeah,
Mm.
he taught me for the first probably like 3-4 years.
Oh my gosh. So you can actually you can pick up a keyboard or sit down on the piano and just play.
Yeah, and that's kind of
Love,
how a
love
lot of my songs start. I'll say about 50-50 of my songs start is with me coming up with the chord structure. Or, sometimes I work with the producer where they have the chord structure set and I'm great with it. And then other times it's a more collaborative process where they might have a progression and then I'll build upon that chord progression. But yeah, that's a big part of my songwriting is composing as well.
Okay. What would you say is your proudest moment as an artist so far?
Proudest. Ooh,
Yes, ma'am.
tough. Um,
If you want to give me a top three, that's cool. But if you got one bright shining, let's have it. However you want to play it.
it's really difficult, especially lately, because like I said, I've been spending time at home and I've just been sitting kind of in gratitude. I haven't really up until this point like let things soak in. I just been working, 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 working. So lately I have been reflecting and I have been, resting in gratitude. And so many things are coming to mind now. But okay, if I can give you a top three, in no particular order, because I'm not sure which one is my top.
Okay.
But I would say one of my earliest proud moments was winning at the Apollo. That just felt
Mhm.
like everything to me because that was the only time where I've ever performed in front of a crowd that can boo me, and are eager to boo.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, winning first place at the legendary Apollo Theater was a big deal
Mm.
for me, for sure early on. I would say another of my proudest moments was the last tour that I went on as a background vocalist. Super, super proud of like my experience and what I learned, what I brought to the table, all the moments that the main artist, her name is Kalela, all the moments that she gave me to shine,
Mhm.
within that set that she had, but moments where it was just me soloing with the crowd and really learning, I mean, huge crowds, like really learning how to win over huge crowds in that way
Sure.
with just my voice,
Mm.
was major for me. And I still think about it like, I can't believe I did that. So I'm grateful to her for that. And that is definitely a proud moment in my life.
Okay.
And then I guess more recent, I guess I'm going more in chronological order, but more recent, the latest proud moments have been just like the general like outpouring of love that people have for my music. Like it's still overwhelming and I'm still super early, in my career. But just at this stage, having such like a good response is just, I don't know. And no one thing in particular, I guess, but just in general, like
Sure.
I'm proud of where I am in this journey.
Okay. Okay. For sure. You exude. It's like you have a. I'm trying to find a way to articulate it. You seem so like a gentle, just a gentle soul, so sweet, so laid back, just is and to listen to you speak and to watch you is consistent with your music as well. I mean, just what your vibe, I guess. Your
Yeah.
vibe is so cool, just so laid back and chill.
Yeah,
So it's
that's me.
good stuff. Yeah, yeah, and I appreciate it.
Thank you
Um,
for that.
you're welcome. Thank you. What would you say? Actually, no. What is a dream collaboration? Give me 1 to 3 dream collaborations.
Okay, so number one is Janae Aiko. She comes
Okay.
to mind first because as you're
Mm.
talking about vibe, like I just feel our lyrical content or even just like tone of voice is
Okay.
very complimentary. I think I love what she's doing lately with sound bowls,
Mhm.
with consideration of the healing aspect of music more so in her what she's releasing. And she recently had a baby, so she's putting out music that's like soundscapes for babies. And I really respect and admire that a lot. And it's one thing that I do strive for in my music, in the lyrical content, but also in the just overall feeling of the music is like, you know, a kind of like, I don't want to say ethereal because that word is just so general, but really like uplifting in a way and like self-reflective again. And so yeah, she would be a dream collab for sure. Me and her sound bowls. That's the
Okay.
collab.
Okay. Okay.
And then let me see who else.
2 more.
I don't know. I really love Ari Lennox, and she's from hometown. So I'd
Mhm.
love to collab with somebody from hometown.
Mhm.
Um, that's a recent artist, and Ari's doing great right now. And I respect her artistry.
Sure.
And let me see a third one. You know what? I'm gonna just say because he's been on the top of my mind lately because I would love to go to his Vegas show.
Mhm.
But Usher is, I'll say, a third one because
Oh,
he's just so solidified in R&B music, so incredible from day one at like
mhm.
16 or 15 years old
Mhm.
to today, just consistent. And I'd love to learn, you know, from that consistency and just like excellence, you know, like his
Sure.
shows are excellent. And so yeah, I'd say Usher would be a third one.
A good choice. What is a word of encouragement that you would share with someone that's going through a tough time?
Mm. I just recently responded to a tweet that was similar, asking, you know, what are some of your top affirmations or mantras for like rough days?
Sure.
And I told him two of mine. So my number one is everything is as it should be. Like that's my like number one. A lot of times, like part of the frustration in life is like fighting what is, you know, or
Sure.
wanting what is to be different.
Mhm.
And acceptance brings peace. And I think everything is as it should be is like my number one mantra. And then also another for just like, you know, building yourself is I am enough as I am. Like all we can do is our best. And, you know, we never been human before. So this is our first time in this lifetime. And so, you know, with all the tools that we can gather and all the experience and wisdom that we can, you know, bring together, we still are just doing our best, you know. And so that I am enough as I am is a real big one for me because, you know, we of course we're we're striving always for something.
Sure.
We're moving on to the next goal or trying to achieve the next thing, or, you know, we want this, so we need more to have. And so we're constantly like trying to build on ourselves. And sometimes it helps to just sit in where we are and say, I am enough as I am.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What is a word of encouragement that you wish someone had shared with you when you were experiencing a tough time? And this could have been when you were in single digits, early teenager, late teenager, early adulthood, or where you are now. But what is a word of encouragement that you wish someone had shared with you?
Sorry, forgive my dogs.
I have two of them. Don't worry about it.
I think I don't know how encouraging it is, but I think if I was just told more that it's okay, you know,
Hmm.
that all the feelings that you feel are okay, you know, like again, we're human, like
Mhm.
it's great to want to come out of tough times or, you know, darker mental spaces, but
Sure.
it's also good to be in them and process them and understand why they're there, where they're coming from, and what they're trying to teach you. And so I think especially being a church girl, like everything is, you know, from lack of a better word, positive. Like we're always striving for like optimal enlightenment, you know, or just constant optimism and positivity, but it's not always, and that's okay, you know. And I think if it, hopefully it's encouraging, but you know, it's reality that, you know, things happen. Like we're gonna have tough times. Like life
Yes.
is not all, you know, flowers and roses. And even when we want them to be, sometimes it's best to stay in where they are in the dark spaces and learn from them, learn about yourself from them, and you know, just see what life is trying to teach you in those moments. And so yeah, I think I wish I was told more that everything that you feel is okay.
Okay, that works. That works. Well, King Sis, I want to thank you again for taking the opportunity to have a conversation with me. I have enjoyed you. It's been a joy. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you. I've enjoyed this as well.
Thank you. Looking forward to what is it? Is it every Friday? What
Every other, yep, every other Friday. So we started on March 17th,
Mhm.
and I believe we're going through to September 1st.
Okay.
So lots of music every other Friday. Sometimes it's one song, sometimes it's two.
Okay.
I got one at one point, it's going to be four songs. So
Okay.
it's
Wow.
a lot of music releasing, a lot of, but it's all part of my process. So really, these are process songs that I want to share with everybody. I've been just putting out big projects. Like I had my first album, and then I had my first like full-length EP.
Mhm.
But I really want to share the process, and
Okay.
there were a lot of in-between songs to get to those points. So this is from when I first started recording music to now. Even
Mm,
I'm still recording songs that are going to be put out within this series. So it's called the Time series,
okay.
and yeah, we're sharing a lot of music.
Now we hit your IG to get the links for the
Yes,
every other Friday.
yes,
Outstanding,
absolutely, absolutely.
baby.
IG, Twitter. I think it's on my TikTok too. So yeah, and hopefully on my YouTube channel as well. So all my social media pages at I am King Sis should have it.
Okay. Outstanding, outstanding. You're wonderful, and I appreciate you. Thanks again for your time.
Thank you. I really appreciate you.
Welcome. You're welcome. Enjoy your day.
You too. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.